This is In Between Spaces podcast. I remember in the last podcast we talked about going for things that you are intentional about, and I remember how the guest we had talked about how he talked about giving yourself time and knowing that good things take time. Trying in as much as you're putting in so much dedication, trying your best to make sure you're not pressuring yourself, taking things at your own pace. A lot of people out there that have done really amazing stuff. It didn't just happen immediately. It took time, it took effort. The important thing is, are you showing up every day? Are you working hard as well as working smart? Exciting stuff, really cool things. And today we are going to have a chat with Eunice. I'll refer to her first as a nurse. She is a well trained nurse, but now a software engineer. Yeah, it happens. And I read a really amazing software engineer. How was she able to combine the educational background, the medical background with now technology? How is she able to manage herself in this field? How is she able to grow? And the fact is, she's not just a software engineer, she's a certified speaker. She is really amazing, and I've had to see her work on amazing projects. She is that girl. Put your hands together as we welcome Eunice Jacob, a software engineer, a teacher, and a speaker. She does really amazing things. Hi, Eunice. Would you like to introduce yourself? Thank you for coming on the podcast today.
Thank you so much for having me. Good evening, or good afternoon, or good morning, depending on when you're listening to this. Um, Thank you for having me. Like you said, my name is Eunice. I'm a full stack software developer. I transitioned from a nursing background. I'm a registered nurse, and yeah, I am also into mentoring younger ones in the industry. Also, sharing my knowledge through speaking events and just using my voice as an avenue to let others know that if I can transition from a non technical background, you can also do that. And really, it just takes you. Your determination is your limit, nothing else matters. So, yeah, that's a little bit about me.
So I'm so glad we're able to have this chat this evening. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I look forward to learning a whole lot from listening to you talk, and I hope our audience get to do so as well. So yeah, let's get right to it. We would like to know before I start asking the deep questions. Switching to software engineering and now full stack from a nursing background, do you think you made the right choice?
I 100% think I did. I don't have any regrets. Um, I haven't for a day, um, throughout this year at least, thought about what my life would be like if I didn't switch. And even when I try to, I can't really place it. I can't visualize it. It looks like something that is too far away. Um, because somehow, I think with tech, I found the my size of shoe. I found
Mm-hmm.
the pair of shoe that fits. I think that's what I would refer it to. It's just like finding your thing. So yeah, I think I made the right choice for me.
Okay, nice perspective. Finding your the other pair of the shoe and having it fit comfortably. That's nice. I mean, myself, I'm coming from a microbiology background, and as a child, I wanted to be a medical doctor. Story for another day. Do I regret? Do I regret any part of switching to tech? No, I don't. I really don't. I just feel like, if I'm being honest, I kind of feel grateful that I'm able to find what I love early on. Yeah. I didn't have to spend so much years in medical school to find that out. That I am grateful for.
I think
Okay.
that's something I can relate to. I actually wanted to um, study medicine, and I then had to go for nursing instead. I think there are some days where I think about it and I'm like, I would have spent more years, come back, and then feel like, oh, this is not for me. While at that point, I'll be like, I've spent so much, so many years looking for what I really want to do. And the cool thing is, I can still transition to something else. I just believe that at this point in my life, this is really what suits me.
What you want to do
This
now?
is what I want to do now.
That really feels so. Like at this time of my life, this is where I am, and I'm grateful I'm here. I mean, I can wake up next year and decide to become a travel consultant, but till then. But yeah, I must say, since your transition, you've done it amazingly well. Um, you are a full stack developer, and Eunice, I have seen your works. You are good. It must have taken a lot of practice to get to this point. Okay, so if I'm asking from the grant point, what was the hardest part of transitioning? At What was the hardest part of it? Is it when you said, "Oh, I want to get into it," or when you've already started some challenges or something? What was the hardest part of transitioning?
Okay. So the hardest part was not knowing anything. I think
Mm,
that and not earning anything. So when I decided to go into tech, I did not have a penny to my name. I was completely flat out broke. And I had a certificate that could fetch me money since I was like a registered nurse. But I decided not to use that certificate. That was one of the hardest decisions I have ever made in my life. Because I had like opportunities to make money with my nursing certificate, but I was choosing to dedicate my time religiously to a career that I did not know anything in. That was really one of the hardest times in my life, honestly.
okay, I like this. So, how did you go from knowing nothing to actually landing your first software engineering job?
Okay, so my very first software engineering job was through referral. So at that time, I was really just coming up. I had done some side project, as in personal projects, and then I was referred by a family member to one of his friends that was working on a project and needed extra backend developers, and that was my first intro. Yeah, that's how I got my very first part-time role. After which a couple of months passed with me applying religiously before getting my first full time role as a full stack developer. And the difference between that time, my first job, to my first full time role was a little above 4 months. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So before this first referral, what were some habits or processes you took to preparing yourself so that someone could actually refer you? Did you take some courses? Did you try on random projects with your friend? How were you able to hone your skills before landing the first foot at the door?
Okay. So before then, I was learning. I was in a fellowship and I was also in a boot camp, and I was learning on my own. The first few months of my tech career, my laptop was like a desktop. As soon as the light goes off, the laptop will go off. And so I had to stay up, um, during the night when there was light. So I would stay up from 12 a.m. till 3 a.m. studying, going through materials and going through courses on YouTube. My very first course was CS50, Harvard CS50. That was one of the hardest courses that I'd ever had to do, and I had like a very faulty laptop. So at some point, I was writing code on pen and paper, like using pen and paper to write code and get the correct response before when the light comes, I will now check it out to see if I was correct. So a lot of it was putting in the time because honestly, at that point it was either this tech career works out or not. Like I did not think of
There was no backup.
there wasn't like it's really you or you. Nobody's coming to save you. You're on your own, right? Plus
Yeah.
with I was just coming out from school and everybody was expecting me to start looking for a job. And since I was saying I was going to learn something, I had to make sure that the sacrifice I was making was worth it. And so I put in the efforts. And I also I went for an hackathon. Myself and a couple of my friends, we saw an opportunity and we went for the hackathon. That was my first winnings or my first earnings from my tech career. That was about um, a couple of months in, and we were able to come out first runner up, and we got, I think the price we got was $2,000 or so. And that really, like, that was such a breath of fresh air in that period that was very hard for me. Though I didn't get the money on time, I still felt like, okay, if I could win this, it means that there is we had a lot of competition. This is women all over Nigeria, from different years, different backgrounds coming together to vie for a position. And yeah, it was really nice. I think that's during that period, the person that was I worked on the first project I did, he was aware of my winnings and the efforts that I was
Yeah.
putting in. And so when the project came up, he was aware that okay, this person has been doing a lot of work and I should give her the opportunity to show what she can do.
Yeah.
I think if I did not have all those experiences, it might have been difficult for me to land my first role, referral or not, because I still had to
And
do some work to get the job.
yeah, it really prepared you for that first role. Well, imagine coming from a nursing background and next thing you do hackathon with your friends and you are getting $2,000. You're like, wow, there's actually money here. I don't think I made the wrong decision. Okay, so you said after school, yeah, you said you were going to learn something, and then it ended up being software engineering. So most times, what keeps us going in our different careers is a drive. So can I ask why software engineering? There were other options. Is there a specific reason for software engineering, or you just
Okay.
love it?
So I kind of just happened to start doing software engineering. It wasn't really the plan. Initially, I knew I wanted to look at the possibility of a tech career, right? But
Mm-hmm.
at the first time when I heard of the different career prospects in tech, what really caught my eye was data analysis. And that was because of there are certain traits that I have and I felt like this would be the right fit for me. So
Mm-hmm.
at that point, my elder brother was taking a course that's CS50, Harvard CS50, Introduction to Computer Science. And that was just introduction to computer science. It wasn't really based on any field. And whether you're a data scientist, data analyst, I would recommend you take that course because it helps you with the basics of computer science in general. And so I took
Yeah.
that course. During the course of that course, that was when I realized that I though it was some of the most hardest part of the course was really the coding part of it. we're writing in C. That was like one of the hardest part of it. Actually, it was still the most fulfilling that I ever felt. Being able to solve those problems, I felt like I was getting a high, and I was super glad when I was able to solve different problems. Despite the challenges that I had that period, it was the one thing that I could hold on to, the fact that this kind of thinking was something I enjoyed. And so because
Yeah.
I enjoyed it so much, I went further to take another course. And then I took another course again, and it just spiraled into myself becoming more of a software developer and never going back to the data analysis that I actually wanted to do in the first place.
That's really nice. Okay. So have you ever been in a situation where someone didn't take you seriously because of, let's say, your background in nursing or because you're a woman?
Yes, actually.
How did you go about it?
So it was, I think that was my second full time role. Um, okay, I have had several situations. Let me put it like this. The first um, time where I was aware that I was a woman in tech, and so people would not take me seriously. I wasn't aware of it because I did not grow up under duress or, oh, you're a woman, you cannot do anything kind of community or kind of mindset or family either. My elder brother is my biggest cheerleader. He does not care. There's no what's the word, misogyny in my life, so I wasn't aware of that particular part of it, right? And so
Yeah.
it was during the phase where I was still learning. I was still having a lot of imposter syndrome, and so many people are saying post what you're doing and everything. And I decided to come online. I think that was Twitter was in Twitter then. And so I came online, and there was a thread where they were like, post what you're learning right now. What do you do? I think it was a tech was I think it's Tech Sultan or something, Ask Sultan or something. I've forgotten the name.
And yeah, I
And
know him. Part of
handle of the guy. He posted something like that and said people should drop what they are doing and everything. And I did, and I said I was a back-end developer or software developer, forgotten the right words I used. And somebody came under my message, and the person was like, that's all these girls, they'll just know HTML and come and say they are developers. Like, who dashed this one developer? And it was using laughing emoji. That was the first time I experienced gender bias, because there were a lot of male people, like males that are talking about them being software developers, and I did not see any kind of comment. And the fact that he said all these
yeah.
girls would know HTML, I knew that it was the fact that I was a female. He didn't know anything about me, but because I was a
Mhm.
lady, he just assumed I knew nothing. And the funny part of it was, at that point, I wasn't learning HTML because I started off as a backend developer. I was writing in C, and the guy assumed it was HTML. And as I grew on in my career, I came to face more biases. I became more aware of what other people were like going through.
Yeah.
So there was this job I was applying for. I think I got to the last stages of it, and I experienced some kind of what's the word? Um, what's the right word? I don't really want to make it out bad, but it really was bad. And I think the reason why I didn't get that role was because I was a female. They just automatically, despite seeing my experiences, there was just some kind of, they didn't have any like outright reason to say I don't know what I'm talking about, but the
Yeah.
male interviewer kept giving me this feeling like it was because I was a woman. It felt like I did not know anything about backend development and I was just bluffing. And my second time was when I actually got a job. I I was introduced to the members of the team that I was immediately working with. And then I had to work with some other team members, still the same company, but a different product line. And
Yeah.
these are experienced, I would say, kind of experienced back front end developers. So I was working on the back end on that project, and there was a bug, and we were supposed to fix it together. First, I had already tested everything, and everything was working fine on, as back end developer would say, it's working on Postman. But the front end dev, without courtesy, decided that it was going to call me out or during a meeting. I said the endpoint, what I did was rubbish. Those were his words. That I did rubbish, and yeah, it's not working. And when we tried to fix that issue, I was getting a lot of venom from him. And this is somebody I had never worked with. And this is not the same way he treated my other male colleagues. And I felt then and there that I had to prove that I knew what I was doing more than my
Yeah.
male colleagues had to, just because I was a woman in back-end development, right? And so after then I had other instances where I would tell people I'm into tech, and they would automatically assume that I'm a designer. No, no shades, no shades. I'm not throwing any shades.
Yeah,
They
I
just feel
get
like women are more artistic. Designing is more feminine, quote unquote. So whenever I tell people I am a back-end developer, they are taken aback. Oh, you actually write actual code?
Yes, bro, I write it. But it reminds me of this movie I saw about 2 weeks ago. The funny part is that movie has been on Netflix. I just didn't know. I saw it recently. What's the name? Something figure. Hidden Figures. Hidden Figures, where the lead actress asked the man that was attempting to ask her out. I'll put it that way. So the man was like, "Oh, you work as a computer," because that's what they call them, people that add numbers. What are they using you for in this rocket science facility? She was so pissed, and then she schooled him. And when she was done, she said, "And just because I'm a woman doesn't mean I didn't earn my place at that let's say organization. I do my work,
Yeah.
and I don't need questioning if I do it well because I do it damn well." Guy, I was so happy.
Honestly, I even had this is very recent, right? I was on a call with a male colleague, and he kind of insinuated that women had it easy, and the reason why I got the job was because I was a female. And he's like, "Oh, you women, you don't have to bother too much now. They just give you because of what's that? Um, every company they want diversity. So it was like
Yeah.
I'm the diversity hire, and I wasn't really good at my job. They just picked me because I was female.
So,
And
Eunice, which brings me to my question, yeah. How do we handle this in situations like this? How are you able to handle them? I know it's not in every situation that you might be able to like put your foot ground at the same time. Maybe you have to go home, think about it, and you're like, wait, that person was actually very annoying. Do you ever come back to have a discussion with these people? Do you set them straight at the moment, or how do you manage
I
it?
let my work speak for me. Be so good at your job that
Yeah,
when they want to say things about you, they think twice about it, right?
yeah,
Because you will always face that discrimination. People will always think you got hired because of you're a woman and they wanted a diversity hire. But
mm,
when they have worked with you, I think the same colleague that said that during my 1 year anniversary at work, when they were taking turns talking about my work and my work ethics, he was one of the people that were singing my praises and how easy it is to work with me and how it has made the backend team stronger and everything. And I'm like, okay, that's a 360, like, or 180, which one? Anyways, that's like
yeah,
a whole U-turn, right?
yeah.
From thinking I was hired for a diversity hire to being like, this person made the team a whole lot stronger. And so whenever people around you want to say things about you and your work and your work ethics speak that you are amazing, it cuts them
Mm-hmm.
off there and then. Similarly, in the other situation where the front end guy was being rude and condescending, the the solution of it, I didn't exchange words, I didn't really get angry. What I did was school him, like actually break it down like I was teaching a child, so he would know that I understood what I was talking about. And so when I did that, that was I was the only female he respected, the only female developer on the team that he spoke to with respect. Till I left. In fact, till I left that job, even when I left, he was one of the people that came back. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear you very well.
Even when I left the team, he was one of the people that came and asked me if I could stay behind and everything. So he was aware that I was very good at my job. And before I
Yeah.
left that company, I was able to change that notion that I was there because of I was a female or I did not merit the position that I am in.
Which is like, I do hope that on the larger scale we can be able to change that notion for the rest of the female in the team, because I was having this conversation with a friend some weeks ago, and she said something around how a male colleague outrightly said that he does not respect women at the workplace, that they are just there to prove a point. They are just there to prove that what a man can do. I'm like, wait there, someone, let's use an example, someone like me that is genuinely always tired. I decide to bring out my time and show up for a craft. And you think I want to do that to show you that what men can do, I can do it. I'm there to show my future self that I could actually work hard and achieve this. I'm there to make a difference and contribute my quota to Mother Earth. I'm there to improve myself. Why do you think I'm trying to make an impression on you? Why do you think I'm there to make an impression on you,
You
actually?
see, that's the problem, right? That's really like a big problem that we have in society. Even in the workplace, some men still see women as less, as they're not equals. Even when you're on the same pay grade or the same level, they still do not see you as equal until you have to prove, like, if you're a guy and you're a developer, they automatically think you're smart. You have not proved anything.
Mm-hmm.
You've not said anything. They just attribute a certain kind of respect to you. But when you're a lady, they're like, prove now, show us that you can do something. You get. um
Yeah.
in many places this is against work ethics, and I would advise you, whenever you feel disrespected, take, like, go through the proper measures and actually lay a complaint on the aggressor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because while it may be like, oh, reporting my colleague is not nice and I'm still going to work with him and everything, and I don't want to have bad blood and everything, the truth is people need to respect boundaries that are in the workplace. And sometimes you have to make those decisions. You cannot later blame management or the system when you're not doing anything to change it. The first thing is to actually be very good at your job. But before you're able to prove that, let's try using the options that we have available. If someone is being a bully and condescending in the workplace, you should actually 100% write a letter to HR and report that incident, so that, number one, that's you creating a boundary, telling this person this is a line you should not
Do
cross.
not do this with me. Yeah.
This is a line you should not cross. That's one. Secondly, you are able to, like, since it is open, it is out to the open, you are now able to have like a case. If this is a repeated offender, you have a case against him. It is not when later on some things, like, whenever you get fed up, because at the end of the day you get fed up and you now shout, or behave in
Yeah.
a way that is not nice, and everybody's like, oh, if you had done something
Why
before,
did
why
you
did
do
you not
that?
say anything?
Yeah.
Yeah, before things escalate to the point where you're boiling, at that point where you're not boiling, just write a complaint to the right person. But then there are situations where the person you want to write the complaints to is the person that is the aggressor. And my advice to you is that, please look, put open to work on your LinkedIn. At that point, put open to work on your
Someone to
LinkedIn
hire you.
and look for a new job, because that's a toxic work environment. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, you don't want people questioning if you are capable of doing your job. You want them seeing that you are very much capable of doing your job and respecting you for doing it well. So that way, you are proud of your craft and you get to be respected for being good at it. Yep. Eunice, thank you so much for this schooling, because this is a schooling. Okay. So my next question will be: if someone from a completely unrelated field wants to break into tech, what's one piece of advice you give them?
Be teachable.
Mm.
Be willing to be like, to be at a 0 point. Like, not knowing anything is hard. It's really, really hard. Like, feeling like a fool. Feeling like you're the only person that does not understand anything. It's you're going to feel like that a lot, because tech is fast changing and there are a lot of things that you don't know. But one thing I would advise anyone transitioning is that you should be able to learn. You should be able to be teachable. So um our egos sometimes feel battered when we are faced with challenges that we do not know anything, like we do not know any solution to. But at that point, drop your ego and learn. Be willing to be like the least in class, and it is from being the least that you be the most. It is from knowing nothing that you would know something. Another thing I would say is give yourself grace. Give yourself grace. If you continue to compare your story with someone else's story, you would not you would not appreciate your journey. If you can look at your changes, the first 6 months, there was one time I looked back at the code that I wrote starting. I was so proud of that code because I did not know anything in tech and I wrote that code. And I went back and I looked at it and I said, who wrote this rubbish? I was like, if somebody calls me to defend this code, I will never claim this code in my life. This code is not my code. But, and I could see that I had grown from where I was like before to where I am now. And it's continuous. But if I then decide to compare my journey with someone else's journey, I would then not be able to see my own growth, because growth is not linear. Like, it's not an easy process. It's not smooth sailing. There are sometimes where you feel doubt. There are sometimes you feel like you don't know anything at all. But even in those times, be teachable, um, and always ask for help. I'm going to say this story. There was one time when I started working. Imposter syndrome is something that almost everybody in tech, in fact, in any field at all, you are faced it. In tech, you face it more, especially as a remote worker. You feel like a fraud. Like, these people are paying you, and
What if they wake up one day and find out I'm
what if they are aware? What if one day somebody goes and tell them that me, I don't know anything? What if they know I used to Google search how to center a div? What if they find out? What if they find out that I used to forget that CSS style for color? What if they find out all these things? You feel like that a lot. So when I got my first full time role, it was a remote role, and I was feeling like a fraud. I had an issue, and I had a colleague that could help, but I did not want to ask for help because I did not want people to know that I did not know it.
I do not know it.
And so I was stuck on this bug for 2 days. On the third day, I was asked my progress and I wanted to cry. How do I explain that I have been stuck on this bug and I did not ask for help? I did not reach out to anybody. I did not. Okay, there is there's this forum um that developers use a lot. Um there are a lot of forums that I could post this thing and ask for help, and I did not,
Yeah.
because I did not want anybody to see my name and be like, ah, this person that is the developer, she's a fraud. I did not know that you could ask for help. I wasn't told. Nobody told me it was okay.
Yeah.
So I didn't. On the third day, when I was asked, that was when I spoke the truth about how I was stuck on this. It did not take me 10 minutes to fix it and learn from it. And there and then, although there are other instances where I forgot that I could ask for help, there and then I made it. I clocked it. It's like being a developer is not is it's not like everybody expects you to know everything. It is okay, 100% okay to ask for help. So that's something I'm going to advise anybody that is transitioning. Ask for help, ask for grace, be teachable, and don't compare your journey with other people's journey. Just appreciate your journey for what it is.
That is so relatable. When it comes to your career has been a very, I could tell you are working in a space you know. I could tell you are aligning yourself to learn with your job, to grow as your career is growing. So take it one step at a time. And that's I applaud and I appreciate. If you are to summarize your career journey in, let's say, one word, how would you explain that? How would you summarize?
Hmm. My journey. Can one word really encompass what it is in the wholeness that it is? Hmm. Fulfilling. I would
Hmm.
say fulfilling. Um,
Oh,
although it doesn't, the word fulfilling does not show the hard part of it, the days of
yeah.
doubts, the days of imposter syndrome, so crippling that you cannot move. But fulfilling is it. It shows that despite how it might not have been a smooth sail, it's been incredibly fulfilling. Um, moving from knowing zero, as in when I said I came from a nursing background, it's not as if I was into telemedicine or that I was using laptop in my medicine. No, I came from not knowing how to use a computer at all
Came
to
from nursing,
becoming
is
a
that?
software developer, and a good one at that. If I would say so myself.
Yeah.
And so I would say it has been an incredibly fulfilling journey. So I would describe it as fulfilling.
Fulfilling journey. Whew. Okay, so I have a lot more questions I want to ask, but I really love how you went far and diversified with in answering your questions. I love how you touched on imposter syndrome, how you should give yourself grace. how you should strive to be very good at this thing. That if somebody is saying, "Oh, I don't even know what in this person they design," you're like, let's look at the mood board, let's look at the auto flow, let's look at the directions that we've given you. If someone is saying, "Oh, I'm not even sure she's a good software engineer," let's look at the code that's been written. I love how you talk about your journey so passionately. Okay, so I'm just going to ask one funny question. Have you ever used your nursing skill in this tech job? Do you think there's a part of this nursing journey you went through that's been helpful in the tech career?
100%. So there
Hmm.
is no knowledge that is a waste. No knowledge at all. I don't know. Quantitative reasoning and verbal is debatable. Oh. I don't know if we'll ever use quantitative. But absolutely no knowledge is a waste. In nursing, so I've worked in health tech um a lot. My first role
Yeah.
was in health tech. I was able to connect with the problem and the solution a bit on a deeper level than an ordinary, like a software developer with no nursing experience would.
Yeah.
When I was given the opportunity to speak to the clients, I could understand their pain points and think about solutions that are in accordance to health practices, because I was aware that there are health practices that should be followed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so there are some times where, okay, if you're coming from a background and you know that this background is also something that has like a tech field, it might be a good thing for you to first start from there, because quickly you would see that you're able to assimilate tech and branch the two together. There was this project that I worked on, and it was for an hospital. Like I was working on a application that is going to be used by a clinic, and
Yeah.
the clients that I had were nurses, doctors, and the rest working in the hospital. You can imagine that I could really feel what these clients would need when they are
Mm-hmm.
talking and they are speaking their technical jargons. I'm not lost.
Yeah.
When they are talking about what a nurse needs to do, the roles and um the level of authorization we should give to a nurse according to standards of practice, I wasn't lost. It wasn't lost on me, because
Yeah.
it's something that I had already learned, and it helped me in ways that some people would not be aware. Like, you would never know that a nurse had to do this. You would no People will not tell you that nurses had standing orders. People are not aware. If you're not a nurse, if you've not had a nursing background, you're not aware of certain limitations that they have based on your career, like based on your career and the place that you work. The nurses in
Yeah.
primary health care center have different responsibilities with the nurses in a general hospital and the nurses in a clinic. And if I'm working in a health platform, I'm aware of all of this, right? And then
Gives
if you
an edge to develop something
yes,
that
it gives me an
actually.
edge. And away from this other part, nursing is learning and following um the designated reactions, right? If somebody has
Yeah.
this, do this. We have nursing practice. There's this thing that we have in nursing where you have diagnosis and you treat symptoms. So nursing diagnosis is symptomatic, while medical diagnosis is different. In the same way, whenever I see a problem, I think about it like that.
Mm.
This problem now, there's this bug that we have, but this one bug is leading to different symptoms. Do you get? For example,
Yeah.
I did not center a div, but not centering this div means that it's affecting user experience and is leading to low number of people that are being able to use this particular feature. All of them are
Yeah.
related, right? So I think nursing has given me the opportunity to think in that headspace of problem solving already.
Mm-hmm.
And so since coming into tech, it's problem solving that is my drive. I really love solving problems, using tech solutions. And so I'm able to 100% utilize the skills that I've learned. I'm not giving anybody injection, thank God. But I'm able to
That's a
utilize
good
all of it. Yes, I'm able to utilize all of that.
one. That is quite the dots get to connect. No knowledge is a waste. At that level you are right now, do the best you can. Do the best that is attainable at that point. Yeah. Do the best that is attainable at that point. Give it your best. You get out of that zone, you go to the next thing. All the experiences you have get to connect. I really love Eunice's story. I love how her journey and the dots keep connecting. I love how she's very honest in sharing both the things that work, the things that didn't work. Developers I know, oh my god, developers are amazing people. But God, I so question. Hey, you see this thing you said it's okay to ask. I think these ones I know. God, they like clarity. Like it's better clarify everything at the go. Clarify it because if not, you just be hearing. So at first, I was thinking, can we, bro? Yes, we can. We can at this point. Yeah. But yeah, developers are very interesting set of people, and having Eunice is really amazing. I'm most grateful that I got to have you on this podcast today to talk about your
So
experience.
sorry, I want to say something. Um, so when I got my first job, one thing that um my employer had said was I was one of the few developers that spoke English. She said developers don't speak English. What she means is um sometimes we developers we get so into our code that we are unable to communicate with others that are not developers. And I think coming from a nursing background, it means that I communication is key in nursing. And so I had already been brought up in a way where I had to communicate clearly to different categories of people. In the hospital, you communicate differently with your fellow nurse, with doctors, with the pharmacist, with the patients, and with the patient relatives in different wavelengths. The way you
Yeah.
explain it is different. Similarly, some of us developers, not everybody, there are some people that are doing amazing. Some of us need to communicate to different people in different wavelengths. The way you communicate with a designer is different from the way you should communicate with a backend developer, and it's different from the way you communicate with other stakeholders on the team. And so, yeah, that's something that I think that's the misconception that a lot of people have. It's because developers find it difficult to communicate. That's why they say a lot of us are pompous or we have strong head.
But I think it's interesting, Sha. Like once they cover this their headsets, no, it's cool. Developers are cool. See, I can't believe I'm saying this, but yeah, developers are cool people. So and they get the respect. I feel like in across different industries, once you are good at a particular thing, like let's say for developers, once you are good, the respect is always there. Oh, you can reach out to this guy, they will not tell you this time does not work for me. So let's do within this time and this time. I'm like, okay, you guys. Okay. So Eunice, can we ask what's the next for you? What's the
Hmm.
next? Yeah, let me just put it
Next
as
for
that.
me. So I'm currently working on a mentorship platform. During my tech journey, one thing is I didn't get a lot of female mentors in the tech space. The the journey of a female in tech is quite different from the journey of a guy in tech.
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
problems that we face, I know the problems that you have faced as a designer, a female designer, is different from what a male designer would face.
Yeah.
And I think women should mentor others coming up, share our knowledge so it is not lost and nobody feels alone. And so because of that because that thought process, I'm working on on an application that will be able to get people mentored. Like, so we're going to have like mentorship within the community using the application. So it's something that we are still building. So that's really what is next for me in terms of mentorship. In terms of career, I'm looking at AI engineering. It seems very interesting to me. And yeah, I just really want to know more about what I'm doing. I want to get to senior level positions. I really want to build my own products and a lot of other amazing things. Yeah, and do more mentorship and giving back to the society. Do more speaking, and yeah, that's what's next for me.
I'm excited. I look forward to that application. And you are doing really amazing at the moment. And I would like to say thank you for so far you've done in giving back to the community. Your LinkedIn post is nice. Coming on this podcast too, we really appreciate having you here. I'm very sure you've given a voice to a whole lot of women, and that we don't take for granted. So thank you very, very much. Would you like to add any other thing before we conclude?
Thank you so much for having me. It's an amazing privilege to be able to share my perspective and my journey, and hopefully, it can um, interest one person to give it a chance. It can inspire one person that is about to drop off to keep going, because if I can't do it, then you can do it also. So it's been an amazing time. So yeah, thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, my woman. Mwah. Bye. You guys, till
Bye.
next time. See you guys. This is In Between Spaces. Share it with your friends and your enemies. Bye.